in my eyes, in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, in my life. I have been searching for something, but you were my dream. You're perfect, you're golden, golden. You're the light, your love. You're perfect, you're golden. You're the light, my love. When I breathe, when I swallow, caress I feel. When I listen, I hear the most beautiful music out of nowhere. You're perfect, you're golden. You're my light, my love. You're perfect, you're golden. You're my light, my love, my love. Light-it-light-it-light-it-light. Light-it-light-it-light-it-light. When I'm sad and dark, shallow and in doubt. When I'm trying my best to put one foot in front of the other. You're perfect, you're golden. You're the light of my life, you're the love from forever. In your reflection, I'm perfect. So I keep looking at you to keep witnessing my perfection. In you as me, light-it-light-it-light-it-light. Light-it-light-it-light-it-light. Light-it-light-it-light-it-light.
got the blues. Quarantine blues. On tour in Chicago that March day, on top of the world, things were going my way. Started hearing about a virus, a tragic ordeal. When I got back to Nashville, it was getting real. All my shows canceled left and right. Things were gonna get worse when I was leaving inside. I got the blues. Quarantine blues, I got the blues. Yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues. Quarantine blues. We started closing up shops, closed the schools, closed down the churches and the honky-tonks too. Closed the restaurants, closed the parks, rolling up the sidewalks after dark. The biggest thrills at the grocery store, fighting over toilet paper. And then I said, Ma, I got the blues. Quarantine blues, I got the blues. Yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues. Quarantine blues. Where your dog can get a bath, but you can't cut your hair. And unless it's essential, you can't go anywhere. You better be sure when you leave your home, they're tracking every move on your cell phone. Never thought I'd live to see this nightmare called a new reality. I got the blues. Quarantine blues, I got the blues. Yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues. Quarantine blues. I got the blues, yeah. Quarantine blues.
Seventh house and Jupiter aligns with Mars,
then peace will guide the planets
and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, age of Aquarius, Aquarius. Harmony and understanding, sympathy and trust abounding. No more falsehoods or derisions, golden living dreams of visions,
mystic crystal revelation,
and the mind's true liberation. Aquarius, Aquarius. Then peace will guide the planets, and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius. 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 People all around the world, men and women, boys and girls, the time has come to occupy. It's much too late to judge and cry. Think about a love revolution and it's here again. And it's time to let the sun shine in. Come together and sing out strong. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. All around the world. Let the sun shine. Come together. Let the sun shine. Sunshine. The sun shine in. Everybody sing. Let the sun shine. Open up your hearts. Let the sun shine. Sunshine. The sun shine. Come together and sing out strong for a peaceful planet where we all belong. Replace all fears with love and grace. We are different shades of one human race. It's the place to chase. The revolution is here again. It's near again. The resolution will now begin for all to let the sun shine in.
I am here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. I am here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all.
I'm in the right place at the right time.
welcome to the People of Diversity Sunday service. We are a multi-faith community and we believe there are many paths to one divinity. We have a rotation of 9 speakers, each from a different faith perspective or viewpoint, and we have coupled with them 9 different sets of musicians who come from all over the country. And at the beginning of a series, we give them a 1 or 2 word topic, and they put together their videos. And we put together this video, we send it all to Philip Lupo, and he creates what you're watching now, our Sunday service. So how can you help us with this endeavor and keep this train moving along? You can go to www.peopleofdiversity.org and push that donate button. Now you can do a one-time offering, or you can set up a weekly or a monthly tithe, and every bit helps. We pay our musicians, we pay our speakers, and the pod also tithes to the National Interfaith Alliance once a month. So go to that website and help us out.
Last week we had Baha'i representatives Dean Martineau and Judy Barant, along with Armand and Angelina. And this week we have Muslim Nuran Sykes with John Stringer. And next week we have a Christian perspective from Miss Lydia Junis, and she will be joined by Gary Lynn Floyd. We are on grief, and we are actually coming to the tail end of our series on grief. It has been incredibly powerful. Probably the most diverse responses we've gotten to a topic so far. It has just been absolutely incredible. If you would like to see some of those incredible past services, they are available on the under the live button on both the People of Diversity page and group page.
On Facebook.
On Facebook, yes. We have a deep dive immediately following the morning services at 11:45 to 12:15 precisely, so as not to eat up your afternoon. And it gives us an opportunity to hang out and visit and see each other and actually engage in a bit of a chat and a conversation instead of just shooting hearts during the service. The second broadcast is at 5:45 in the evening, and that's an opportunity to pop back, see it a second time, send someone back. It's like, oh, so-and-so needs to see this. That's that moment. It's also what gets pinned to the top of the page for you to go back to during the week, or again, to send someone else back to see that ever so important service that might just touch them. So the last piece I want to give to you is that you will get all notifications for all services if you simply join the pod page. You can search out People of Diversity on Facebook and pick up the group or the page or both. Ask for entry. Of course, we will approve that. and you'll get notifications from here on out whenever we're doing our Sunday service. That's all I know.
Okay. Each week we bless a country. If you have pictures or fun facts about the country that we're doing next week, send them to the email address below. And our country next week is Australia. I think we all think we know a little bit about Australia, and I bet we can come up with some things you don't know. So this week we are blessing Armenia. Armenia is located in the mountains between Asia and Europe. There are about 3 million people that live in Armenia. 97% of the people living in Armenia are actually Armenians. There are very few people of other nationalities living there. The capital of Armenia is Yerevan, and it is one of the world's oldest inhabited cities. It was established in 782 BC. There's lots of old things about Armenia. It is known as the Pink City because so many of Yerevan, the capital, Yerevan, is known as the Pink City because so many of its buildings were built of pink volcanic rock. Armenia was the first nation to adopt Christianity. That happened in 301 AD. It has the world's oldest church, which was built in 303 AD. It is also home of the world's oldest winery, which is in a cave. That's kind of cool. And the world's oldest shoe, only one, but the world's oldest shoe was found in a city called Irene, and it was over 5,500 years old. And this final fact is very interesting. Chess is a required school class for everyone. Yeah. So, let's hold the people of Armenia in our hearts, knowing they want the same things in their lives that we want in ours. They want peace and joy, and for their families to be safe. And so we bless them, and we say these words together. May peace prevail in Armenia. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in me. Okay. John Stringer. We got to see John, it's not been that long ago, maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, I think, over at Bob, Simon, and Shannon Plummer's house. They did a house concert, and it was awesome. And it was so nice to see John and his family, and just have a little bit of time to hang out and chat, and get to see them again. It's been a long time. So we're glad that he is joining us for this service. And then one of my favorite buddies in this endeavor, Muslim Nuran Sykes, she was actually coming live to the pod when we were still doing live services, and so we got to meet her and her husband in person, and they're both just wonderful human beings, have such a great perspective of life, and also a very heartfelt mission to share Islam with us and dispel notions that are so not true. So without further ado, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Nuran has to say about grief. I think it's going to be, she always comes from her heart, so it's going to be really interesting. So we'll see you on the other side.
One of the greatest challenges I believe we face is the disregard for life that comes from separation, not viewing others in our human family as part of the whole and our interconnectedness. And when we can see beyond that separation, that's when I believe love can flow the most. We see each other as one. So, this song is speaking to that separation, more importantly, to those who have been oppressed, forgotten, and felt unloved. It's time to bring it back around. I must let you know that we matter. Tell these people love that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We matter. Change what we do right now. We matter. It's a history of pain. Separation is insane. Have you bought into the lies? Black, white, whatever, never a reason to despise. Oh, you see, we're all part of the human race, one humanity, a truth we must face. If we can't learn to love each other, then we can't learn to forgive one another. Time to move on to a new way of being. The only solution is a new way of seeing. Yeah, I must let you know that we matter. Till these people know that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We separation, we can all make a new start. If we all come together, if we make love the norm, no matter what the border, no matter where you're from, then how can we let our fellow man suffer in poverty? How can we let our brothers and sisters die from greed? And how can we let our mothers and fathers go and care for? And how can we let our children live in a world of war? No, no, no. I must let you know that we matter. Till these people know that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We matter. Change what we do right now. We matter. Time to embrace a new way of being. One race, one world, one humanity. Let's learn to love ourselves, our creator, and every being. 'Cause we all matter in this one love for you and me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I must let you know that we matter. Till these people know that we matter. Gotta face the truth somehow. We matter. Change what we do right now. We matter. Peace starts with you. We matter. Hatred will never do. You can sing it too. We matter. All of God's creation. We matter. We can change the situation. We matter. I must let you know that we matter.
This song is called You Are Welcome Here.
There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love and welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. And be who you are and let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here, and you are welcome here. See when new eyes allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. And welcome to love, and welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. And be who welcome to our community and be who you are and let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, yeah. When we unite. Oh, oh, oh. When we unite. Yeah, yeah. Oh, when we unite. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. And peace is welcome here. And you are welcome here.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings of God be to all of you. Today's topic is grief from a Muslim's perspective. And I really struggled with this. I didn't want to talk about death as part of grief. And anyway, this was a dichotomous situation. But here goes. So grief is a natural and emotional reaction to the loss of someone or something important to you. The loss can be a person, an object, or even a way of life. And I'm going to talk about the loss of a way of life at the end. I want to come back to that. So during a time of loss, emotions can be intensely painful, affecting all aspects of life and relationships. In the midst of the struggle, it is important to realize that grief is normal. It is not an illness, and it is not something negative. And grief shows that you care deeply for whatever it is that you lost. For some people, grief might be felt in spikes throughout the day. For others, it may suddenly come up every few days. Some have compared it to feeling as though they are drowning due to the tidal waves of emotion that affect them at times. Others might say that it feels like it's an extra weight on their heart or shoulders that they carry around with them wherever they go. Everyone experiences grief differently and on a different timeline. Your emotional response to grief may be very different from what you've seen or how you anticipate you may react. And I have to mention, because I came from a Catholic background, grief has been very, very different in the Catholic narrative as opposed to now that I'm Muslim. So the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, experienced many losses throughout his life and taught us that grief is a real and natural emotional response. The Prophet manifested his grief on different occasions and demonstrated the permissibility of showing our feelings of sadness when we lose something precious. The messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him, visited Sa'id ibn Ubaidah during his illness. He was accompanied by his apostles or his companions, and the messenger began to weep. When his companions saw this, their tears also started flowing, and he said to them, "Do you not hear? God does not punish for the shedding of tears or the grief of the heart, but punishes or bestows mercy for the utterances of this." And he pointed to his tongue. So what is this referring to? It's actually referring to when we are going through grief, we should not complain. We believe everything comes from God the Almighty, so we can be sad and cry, But what happened in previous times was that people would wail and beat their chests and cause distress for everybody around them. As Muslims, we believe that the person in the grave can hear the last person's footsteps as they are leaving their grave. We can cry, but we cannot lose control, as not to disturb the person in the grave. Consider some of the losses the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, endured in his lifetime. He lost his nursemaid, Halima Sadiya, at the age of 4. His mother, Amina, died when he was 6 years old. They went to Medina to visit family and to visit the Prophet Muhammad's father's grave. Now his father, Abdullah, died before he was born. He was in the care of his grandfather, who died when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was 8 years old. The loss of both his first wife Khadija and his uncle Abu Talib in 1 year, and this was called the Year of Sorrow. The death of 6 out of his 7 children during his lifetime. My mom lost 3 children, 2 before I was born and a stillborn just before me. And she said it's something that she thought about every single day. 3 boys. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, also lost numerous companions and many, many friends. Watching his tribe go hungry as Banu Hashim was boycotted by the Meccans due to the Prophet refusing to stop spreading the message of Islam. He grieved over this. Losing his status and many relationships in Meccan society once he began to publicly proclaim the words of God. So what losses are people experiencing now? During the current coronavirus, a grief response is completely normal. COVID-19 has been a sudden life-altering experience for the entire globe. In just over a few months, the disease had gone from being a novel virus affecting a few people in one city to the entire world on lockdown. My family is on lockdown in South Africa again. There is an overall feeling that the world has changed, which is a tremendous loss. We have lost our routines, a sense of consistency and predictability, a loss of normalcy, economic stability, and the most difficult for me was the loss of connection. Everyone's life has been affected in one way or another, interpersonally, spiritually, economically, emotionally, and physically. The concept of fear and grief is mentioned extensively in the Holy Quran. Chapter 2, verse 156 reads as follows: "And we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger, and a loss of wealth and life and fruits, but give good tidings to the patient. Those who, when disaster strikes them, say," the Arabic is "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun." Indeed, we belong to God, and indeed to Him we will return. One of the most profound losses during time has been freedom. Freedom to go out without anxiety about getting sick. Freedom to go out and socialize. Freedom to go to work. Freedom to engage in public recreational activities. Facilities and overall freedom to experience whatever level of functioning we had before. Suddenly, the most mundane, normal tasks can be anxiety-provoking. I was sad because I couldn't see people smile. Now, we can control our thoughts through reframing. Although this current struggle may feel like a punishment from God due to the overwhelming emotions we experience right now, keep in mind the response of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, when his wife, Aisha, asked him about the plague. He said, "It is a punishment that God sends upon whomever he wills, but God has made it a mercy for the believers. Any servant who resides in a land afflicted by plague, remaining patient and hoping for reward from God, knowing that nothing will befall him except that God has decreed, will be given the reward of a martyr." With this discussion of grief, I have to educate my brothers and sisters about death and what happens after death in Islam. So, ethnic and religious pluralism are now key features of the most Western societies, with Muslims representing the largest religious minority group. Although Muslims are ethnically, culturally, and linguistically heterogeneous, they share common core beliefs, these centering on the unity of God and the message sent to mankind in the Holy Quran. A key theme running through the Quran is the contrast between the transitory nature of this world and the permanent abode of the hereafter. I have to sort of just add something because we've dealt with so many healthcare workers that are not educated on this subject. So despite the best of intentions, healthcare professionals often struggle when faced with bereaved Muslims. Some express uncertainty about how to differentiate between variations in bereavement process, reflecting religious differences across population groups on the one hand, on the other, symptoms indicative of aberrant grief processes, which have the potential to benefit from professional help and support. Lack of cross-cultural competencies due to inadequate diversity training, insecurity and worries about causing offense if topics are raised inappropriately, and language barriers in encounters with relatives of dying Muslim patients are therefore likely to cause Muslims and other religious minority groups to be at higher risk of being misinterpreted or inadequately supported in the bereavement of grief process. In order to provide sensitive, patient-centered care, healthcare professionals need to have the insights and expertise to provide human care to all patients, irrespective of background, particularly at times of immense personal loss and associated vulnerability. Life and death are believed by Muslims to be in accord with the will of God. The timing of death is therefore predetermined with a fixed term for each human being. Death marks the passing to the hereafter, the ultimate destination. Our earthly life is considered a testing ground, and our relations are trusts from God, which we are asked to treasure, but in doing so to remember that these are ultimately returned to the Almighty Creator. I'm going to go through the steps preceding a Muslim's death. The funeral home is contacted, and the person's body is picked up swiftly. An autopsy is not performed, and the body is not embalmed. And the reason being is that we believe the deceased can still feel and hear everything that is going on around them for up to 72 hours. If there is foul play, the state has to do an autopsy. Now, Muslim bodies are also, we are not refrigerated. And they really don't have to be because we are supposed to be buried as soon as possible. We wash the deceased person's entire body with water and a very, very mild soap. Men washed by men and women by women, unless a spouse and spouses wash each other. The mom and dad can wash a young boy or girl. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the wash, which is called in Arabic, the janaza ghusl. The deceased person is laid on a metal table and the water for rinsing is running constantly. There is a sheet laid over the deceased so that we cannot see their body at all. Nothing is exposed. Now you guys are probably thinking, how do you wash the body without any private parts being exposed? So what happens is the sheet is laid over the body. You have a soft sponge. The water is warm. You use a mild soap and you lift up the sheet, but you don't look. So you just rub it with your hand, does not touch their body. It's a very, very dignified ritual. It was very, the first time I ever washed a body, it was a 9-day-old little girl. She was born with a heart defect and they did surgery on her and she did not make it. And it feels like I did it yesterday. It was so, I don't want to say disturbing, but it was a great reminder of the short life that we have on this earth. Her parents were so distraught that they could not participate. So another lady and myself in the community took on this daunting task. And when I say daunting, I cried from the time that the little girl was brought in to the time that we shrouded her. So I've also got to talk about the shrouding. It's a cloth that we sort of cover the whole body, and it even covers the head. Now, with a Muslim, what we do is we braid the lady's hair and we put her hijab on, like I've got on, and then we still put the shrouding over that. We put some perfume, natural, either musk or something that smells beautiful. And this was a practice of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. We have a service for the deceased, which is called a janaza prayer. Remember, the wash is the janaza ghusl, and then it's a janaza prayer. This is a very interesting phenomenon. The deceased is taken out of the casket, which is a very simple wooden box, and is actually used again for another deceased person. So the body is taken out of the casket, and the grave has already been, as soon as we contact the funeral home, they start digging the grave. So what happens is the grave is there, but there's a slight sort of, is it like an enclave or something? And what happens is the body is taken out of the casket by family and then put into this. So when they put the dirt on top, the dirt actually does not touch the body. It's not like thrown. When you think you're taking them out of the casket, you might think that the dirt is on top of their faces, but it's not, because they're in this like little cavity. We pray. People will hang around after the body's put in the grave, and a lot of praying is done. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the deceased will hear the footsteps of the last person leaving the grave. The angel of death will ask the deceased 3 questions. What is your religion? Who is your Lord? And who is your prophet? So from the time of death to the end of burial takes place within less than 24 hours, which allows the grieving process to be initiated very soon after the death of a loved one. You know, I know with my dad, like 3 days, you've got to deal with people coming, and you've got to deal with the funeral home and all kinds of, they were necessities, but you couldn't start the grieving process because we hadn't put him in the ground yet. So we do not wait for people to fly in from other countries, family, or from other states. If the person dies in the morning, they are normally buried by sunset. And if they die in the evening, they can be buried at our first prayer, which is called Fajr. Now you would think, so how many people would attend? Because if the families are not flying in from all over the show, and well, what happens is they make an announcement at the masjid, and you know that many Muslims pray at the masjid 5 times a day, and then it will go sort of by word of mouth. And normally there are many, many people at the janazah prayer. It is, we get many blessings for going to a janazah prayer, and also the person that's in the grave is blessed by many people that attend. People will take off work. You know, it's a very, it's a communal event. So I've talked about the death of a Muslim, and I hope I haven't sort of talked too much about death. I'm sorry about that. Please forgive me if I have. But I now want to mention that I said to you, I wanted to talk about the loss of self and how I grieved the person that I was prior to becoming a Muslim. Because you must remember, when you become a Muslim, even though I chose it, I studied Islam for a long time before I chose to embrace Islam, I felt like I lost my culture. I was worried that my family would not see me as the same person that left South Africa. And of course, my husband's family, we pretty much lost them. I was thinking that I was leaving South Africa, my big family, and coming to America and adopting my husband's family. And to the contrary, they were fine when I first arrived here. And all of a sudden, I said I was going to become a Muslim, and they no longer wanted anything to do with us. And I don't want to say they disowned us, because it sounds like something that they were not kind people. They were kind people. They had never met Muslims, and they did not know how to deal with us. So the loss of self was huge for me. And I think it is for many, many Muslim converts. We don't know where we fit in. We don't know if we can still have relationships with people that knew us previously, because everybody is skeptical. And of course, you know that Islam or Muslims are not the most loved people in this country and other parts of the world. So that is my grief story. Thank you so much for being with me. I was on a vacation for a month on a road trip, and we just had our 8th grandchild on June 1st. So pray for me, pray for the little one. His name is Atlas. And God willing, I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Peace and blessings be upon all of you.
Thank you, John. Once again, amazing. We are so grateful for your participation in this endeavor. Nuran, as always, as billed by Becky, just amazing. Thank you for always showing up with all of you and in your heart. We are grateful. Philip, thank you for always putting the show together. If you need any services or help out there in the world, right down here on the bottom is how you connect with Philip, and he will take care of all your needs, your mortgage, any kind of future retirement you might need. Just see Philip, and he will take care of them for you.
He's kidding. He's good, but he's not going to do that.
I think that's all I know.
Well, following the morning service, we have the deep dive. Come and join us for that, 11:45 to 12:15. And then tonight, on Sunday evening at 5:45, we have our second broadcast of the Sunday service. And it's not live like the deep dive, but it's on Facebook. And so we can chat in the window. And then next week we will finish our series on grief with Reverend Celidia Junis with a Christian perspective, and her musical guest will be Gary Lynn Floyd, so that'll be a very interesting service, I'm sure. Celidia always has a really cool outlook on things. She's funny. So go to www.peopleofdiversity.org, press that donate button, and help us keep this mission going, many paths to one divinity. And let's just take a moment right now, take a deep breath. We say thank you, Spirit. Thank you for all of these opportunities, all of these people, the ones producing this service, the ones contributing to it, and the ones watching. And we are so grateful for the messages and the learning that we get and the broadening of our perspectives. And we say thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, don't click off. We have our last thing here. Going to listen to a beautiful song by Daniel Nahmod, and open your heart, send out your energy, bring to mind anyone that you might know that needs a little extra push this week, just to get them through the week, and send them your energy and love, and open yourself up as well. This is a circle. It goes around, comes around, and it's a good thing. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you either immediately after at the deep dive, or tonight, or sometime during the week. And have a good week.
Bye now.
One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power.